Thank you
Yes.
so much for your patience. Really appreciate it. I'm happy to be here with you tonight. Rev, it's good to see you as well.
Good to see you again to Apostle Blessings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I just want to quickly add my part to, what is happening here in on the show first of all, and then also with Barbados. We're at this point where I think things have gotten out of hand in relation to what is happening with us governmentally, um, and it has gotten out of hand because those who are now our lawmakers have been involved in being our lawbreakers,
Mm-hmm.
and so now it's damage control, and you can see that with all of these things that are being implemented, this consistent attack on Barbadians who themselves are not the problem. Tent laws, you know, um, trading ID card, you know, the whole issue with the cyber crimes bill. Now you want to charge Bajans for, not assisting a police officer when it really should be the other way around. And this is critical. So what do you do when a police officer who's supposed to um, serve, reassure, and protect? What do you do when they don't assist? Um, Barbadians, can we put them in court for not doing their job? So again, what you're seeing is the reality that these individuals have gotten to the point where they know what's the next phase of the criminal activity in Barbados. And this is just a way of covering themselves. So I've been saying this for the longest time that this current administration has lost its grip on and it's lost its way in Barbados. So all of these things that are being done right now basically is just to cover their tracks and to make sure that they put Barbados in a state of hysteria so that they can continue their plan forward. But let me just go back and say this. I've been very much supportive of the marches that we've had over the years in relation to all the way back from COVID and the cybercrime bill and all of these different things. But I said this on the show on last week. It's one of my problems is that we're now living in a Barbados where the consciousness of the people is at an all-time low. Okay, and we can do much, we can say a whole lot on the show, but we are dealing with a low level of consciousness, a low level of awareness, because the system has been designed to keep information and the seriousness of a lot of these legislations that are being passed, the seriousness of them are being kept from the people. So if you want to control individuals, you keep information from them.
Mm.
But we've had a consistent level of people lying. Again, 1 minute the whole town area is being sold to a conglomerate. Next minute is being sold to a group, and before you know it, it's already sold to a single individual. And
Mm.
all of these are consistent lies that are being told to the Barbadian people. You're seeing individuals the moment they speak out, they're fired. Okay, so you want to look at this very, very carefully and understand the difference between a democracy and a republic. And what you're seeing right now is all of these things that are happening. You have to understand that we have to have individuals right now that will stand up and say, listen, if we are allowed to take the reins of governance in Barbados, we're going to repeal all of these bills. We're going to look at them. Um, we're going to weigh the pros and the cons. We're going to take out what needs to be taken out. We're going to fix it so that it works for Barbadians and Barbados and not work against us. Okay, we're not going to continue to have a systems where uh, government is going to change, but the people are still in a place where they don't know what is going to be done to help alleviate the issues that are facing them right now. And so a lot of times, and I said this, I think last week on the show, I said, someone asked me, if I would ever leave Barbados and live in another country. And I told them there's only one reason why I would do that, and it's because I realized that I'm living in a country right now where uh, our people are at a very low level of consciousness, very, very low. If you remember, I'm a spiritual person. If you remember in the book of Genesis, Rev, the Bible talks about the day when they were building the Tower of Babel. And it talks about the fact that they were of one mind and they were of one accent and they were of one language. And it said nothing that they put their minds to do um, can be stopped. And when you have that level of high consciousness, you can move your country forward. Now, the last part that I'm going to say is this: ask the Barbados Labour Party what vision has they brought to the people
mm,
in the last 6 years. No vision. You ask the people in St. James North after the big man with the big plan, with the big passion, with the big everything. Okay, ask them right now if they are not crying out, where is he? So you have this situation where it is like we're hoping that you're going to see a major level of change in the island right now. And these individuals that we have cannot take Barbados into no divine future. It is impossible for them to bring Barbados into a state of glory. And I'll tell you right now, the only way that we are going to really know the damage, the way we're only going to know the conventions that they've hidden and signed on to, and all of these agreements with China, all of these agreements with, Argentina, all these agreements with, Venezuela, with all of these elements that they've signed on to, with the UN, with the WHO, with the
Saudi
World Bank,
Arabia,
with the
Saudi
IMF, with
Arabia,
Saudi Arabia.
yeah,
We're not going
Chile,
to know the dangers of it until we have seen the backs of
right.
these people, and unless Barbadians begin to wake up. I grew up in the day when uh, common sense was very common, but I realize that in Barbados right now, common sense is not as common as we would like it to be. So, unless our people wake up, Madam Weeks, and I know you've been pushing and you've been pushing and you've been pushing. There are a lot of people who would stay behind the scenes and they would comment um, on on the show, but they're not going to come to the march because they don't want the camera. They don't want anyone to see that they're supportive. So this, and thank God for them that at least they'll support behind the camera. But the reality is that we need individuals who are more aware, who are more sensitized, and have more understanding of the level of witchcraft that is being levied on the people of Barbados, and make a decision. You know what? Let me just and I told you already. Don't depend on churches, especially in Barbados, because many of them are heavily in support of this administration. A lot of pastors are heavily in support of this administration, even with the lifestyle of many of them. And I really don't understand it. But you have to keep moving no matter what, whether there are 80 people there, whether there's 100, whether there's 200. The issue is no matter how many individuals are there, I believe you have the key persons that when they speak, the government will listen. And I make sure that I'm one of those individuals that when I speak, they listen. So you have to keep going, not to worry about numbers. The impact is greater than the numbers, ma'am. And what has been done so far with the cyber crimes bill, that's stuck in the mud and it's going to go nowhere. We made that declaration, and we're going to make more declarations to them about these matters so that they understand that it's the kingdom of God that runs the nation and not 30 people or 28 people who formulate a government in Barbados. So we have to keep moving no matter what, whether the people come or not. We have to keep moving. As I said, they're going to the place where they're going to self destruct. They're not very far from that. And this has to happen so that everyone in Barbados, including mainstream and hardcore Barbados Labour Party supporters, see for themselves who they've been backing all this time. Okay, so I'm happy to lend my support here on the show and also with the march, and I love the opportunity whenever, whether it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever. But to be there on the march and to make declarations uh, in the atmosphere. The great man of God Moses told us in Psalms 19 and Psalms 91 how these people work. He said, "You don't be afraid of the arrow that flieth at noonday," and what that really is accusations, because that's what the enemy is. He's the accuser of the brethren. So they put things in the atmosphere to interfere with the psychology of individuals. So on our side, it is very important for us to also put things into the atmosphere, decree things in the atmosphere. The man of God, Elijah, the prophet Elisha, said by this time tomorrow, there's going to be change. There's going to be a measure of flour and a measure of barley that will be sold for a shekel in the gates of Samaria. So he put it in the atmosphere, and within 24 hours, they had a massive breakthrough in the gates of Samaria. Things were cheap. People got to eat. People got to feed their families. So we have to continue to put things in the atmosphere to challenge what they're putting in the atmosphere, and whoever's working with them that's putting things in the atmosphere over Barbados. So it's word against word.
Last word for well, your final words for right now. Half
Yeah,
a minute.
don't I did do yeah. Let's move that last word last out, right, boss? Ah, you're muted. You're muted.
A move
Yeah.
of God that's taking place in Barbados right now. But what I want to add to it is what Joshua said to the children of Israel when they cross over into the promised land. He told them, fight for your wives, fight
That's
for your
right.
sons, fight for your daughters.
Yep.
You want to fight because God has promised you this land. So fight, 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 fight until we possess this land. And I want to get that message out there to Barbadians. We have to fight until we
Fight
possess
for our country.
the
Yes.
Barbados that God has for us, and not the one that this administration wants to lead us into. There's one that God has prepared, and we must fight to enter into that promise, Barbados.
That's right.